Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm Zach, and this is my picks for UFC Baku, UFC Baku, Hill versus Rountree Jr. So kicking off the card, I would say night, but it is beginning at 11 a.m. where I'm from. We have Hamdi the Hammer Abdul Wahab, Muhammad the Motor Usman. Yes, he's related to Kamaru Usman. Usman is 11-4, 4 wins by knockout, 2 wins by submission, and 5 first-round finishes. He started his UFC career by going a 3-fight win streak, but then losing to Parkin and Peterson back-to-back, and is now looking to be in the win column yet again this Saturday. Hamdi, on the other hand, is 6-0, undefeated, 5 wins by knockout, 4 first-round finishes. His last fight was pretty controversial in my opinion. I don't think he won the decision, but the judges gave it to him, so what can you do? I feel like he was being outstruck by his opponent, but again, he won. So honestly, this is an unranked heavyweight fight, so I'm not expecting anything crazy out of it. I mean, Muhammad Usman, not very exciting. Hamdi, undefeated, so I mean, that's cool, but I don't honestly think this is probably going to go to decision, and I'll say Hamdi Abdul Wahab will take the decision this Saturday. Next up, we have Tagir Olimbekov versus Azak Kasak Maxim. Sounds like a spell almost. Maxim is 15-1, 4 wins by knockout, 6 by submission, and is currently 1-1 in the UFC. His last fight he lost to Charles Energy Johnson, very fun fighter, and both fights ended in a decision. Olimbekov though has a record of 16-2, 1 win by knockout, 7 by submission. He's beaten some more recent names such as Bruno Silva and Cody Durden, and has lost to Tim Elliott. His wins are pretty even between either being a decision or a submission. So honestly, I'll say that this fight will probably be a decision, again, seeing as both their fight histories. I'll say Tagir Olimbekov will take the decision and beat Azat Maxim. Next up, we have Irina Russian Ronda Alexieva versus Claudia Saigula. Saigula is 6-2, 2 wins by knockout, 1 by submission, and her only fight in the UFC so far is being knocked out by Melissa Mullins. Alexieva though has a record of 5-2, 1 win by knockout, 2 wins by submission. Her first fight in the UFC, she submitted Stephanie Egger. In her last fight, which will be 2 years ago in October, she lost by decision to Melissa Mullins. I honestly don't know who's going to win this one. I mean, there's really nothing to go off of. I think it's a guaranteed decision though. I guess I'll just throw this out there. I'll pick Claudia Saigula to win by decision. Then we have Daria Iron Lady Selezniakova versus Melissa No Mess Mullins. Mullins has a record of 7-1, 4 wins by knockout, and 3 of those being in the first round. Her first fight, she beat Alexieva, and then she was knocked out by Nora Cornell, and then came back and knocked out Saigula. On the other side, Daria, because her name's too hard to say, has a record of 9-2 with 5 wins by knockout. In her first fight, she beat Montserrat Rendon, or Rendon if she's not Brazilian, but she beat her by decision, and then was submitted by the always fun Eileen Perez. So she's coming off a loss, and Mullins is coming off a win. And honestly, I feel like Mullins is going to take this one. You know, I'll just throw this one out there too, just because there's too many decisions. We need something fun here. And I'm going to say Melissa Mullins will knock out Daria Zelensniakova in their fight this Saturday. Then we have Ismail Berzdog Nordiev versus Junyoung the Iron Turtle Park. Park has a record of 18-6, 5 wins by knockout, 6 submissions. His fight history shows that he wins either by submission or decision, and will lose by he got KO'd once and usually gets decisioned by other fighters. Then Nordiev has a record of 24-7, 12 wins by knockout, and 6 submissions. However, his only wins in the UFC are decisions. However, I feel like this might be Nordiev's first KO in the UFC against Junyoung Park, so I'm going to say that he's going to knock out Junyoung Park. And if I was going to be specific about it, second round. Then we have Seokyeong Ko versus Oban the Welsh Gangster Elliott. Oban Elliott is 12-2, and he's on a 3-fight win streak, beating Woodburn, Parsons, and Hafez. And he's a very fun fighter, so I'm going to be rooting for him this weekend. Ko has a record of 11-2 with 6 wins by knockout. Funny because his name is Ko, K-O. This is his first fight in the UFC, and before he got to the UFC, he was on a 4-fight win streak. So even though it's Ko's debut, I think Oban Elliott is going to ruin his fun and get a knockout over Seokyeong Ko. Then we have Muhammad Hill Naimov versus Bogdan the Unleashed Grad. Grad is 15-2, 9 wins by knockout and 3 submissions. Grad's one and only fight in the UFC is a knockout over Lucas Alexander. On the other side, Naimov is 12-3, 6 wins by knockout and 2 by submission. When he first joined the UFC, he was on a 3-fight win streak, 2 by knockout and 1 by decision. Then he got submitted by Felipe Lima and then came back to win a decision over Khan Ofli. So honestly, I think that Bogdan Grad will kick off the main card with a knockout over Muhammad Naimov. Then we have Nazim Blackwolf Sadikov versus Nicholas Iron Mata. Mata is 15-5, 10 wins by knockout and 8 of those being the very first round. Mata's losses aren't bad. He's lost to Jim Miller and Manuel Torres. Other than that, he has 2 wins by knockout and 1 win by decision, and 1 fight that was overturned for some reason. Sidikov is 10-1, 7 wins by knockout and 2 wins by submission. He TKO'd Elder, submitted McKinney, had a draw with Borshev, and then TKO'd Bonfim. 2 of those TKOs were doctor stoppages. I think a knockout was pretty guaranteed for this fight. However, I think Sadikov will win the fight by knocking out Nicholas Mota. We have Tofik Musayev. We have Mitibek Orobai. I hope that's how you say his name. Orobai is 13-2, 6 wins by knockout, 5 by submission. A pretty fun fighter. His last fight was very entertaining to watch. It was a war. He has a 1 submission win and 1 decision win in the UFC, and then his last fight lost by decision. Split decision, mind you. It was a very close and fun fight for sure. Musayev is 22-5, 18 wins by knockout, and 2 wins by submission. And this is his UFC debut, 4th fight from the main event. Pretty good. So, man, honestly, I might have to pick Musayev by decision, and I say decision because Oralbai has shown that he is very durable, has a good chin, so I feel like it's going to hold up yet again, and I feel like Musayev is going to end up taking the fight in points and beat Oralbai by decision. Then we have Curtis Razorblades versus Rizvan Kuniev. Kuniev is 12-2, 6 wins by knockout, 2 by submission. This is his debut in the UFC, 3rd fight from the main card against the number 5 ranked Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades is 18-5, 13 wins by knockout, and 3 of those being in the first round. Curtis Blades has been in the UFC since 2016, debuting against Francis Ngannou. That's some bad luck right there because he was knocked out in the 2nd round. He then went on a 6-fight win streak, mainly all by KO or TKO, and then ran into Francis Ngannou again where he was knocked out 45 seconds into the very first round. He then went on a 4-fight win streak where he knocked out 3 out of 4 of those opponents, the 4th fight being against Alexander Volkov where he beat him by decision. He then faced the Black Beast Derek Lewis where he was knocked out in the 2nd round. Then he went on a 3-fight win streak, the first being a decision but then the next 2 being a knockout, the 3rd one being against Tom Aspinall, the current heavyweight champion. He got the TKO, but you know, we all know how that went. And then ran into Sergey Pavlovich where he was knocked out in the 1st round. After that, he faced Jelton Almeida where he knocked him out in the 2nd round, and then faced Tom Aspinall yet again and was knocked out in the very 1st round. So Curtis Blades has only lost to very good fighters in the UFC and has a very good track record for getting knockouts. So with that being said, it feels like the UFC is trying to set up the scary Russian heavyweight to beat the number 5th ranked heavyweight to get boosted to a title shot very quickly. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Curtis Blades is going to spoil his debut and knock out Rizvan Kuniev. And honestly, I really wanted to because apparently Kuniev has popped for various performance-enhancing drugs in the past, so I'll be rooting heavily for Curtis Blades this weekend. Now, for the co-main event, Rafael Adaman Fiziev versus Ignacio La Hala Bahamondes. Ignacio was 17-5 with 11 knockouts and 2 submissions. His 2nd submission coming in his last fight against Jalen Turner, where Turner retired. So in his debut, he lost by decision, but then went on a 3-fight win streak where he got a knockout, a submission, and a decision respectfully. But then lost by decision yet again, but then came back and got 2 knockouts and 1 submission. Looking at his fight history, it seems he will either put away his opponent in the 1st or the 3rd round. And he's a very, very promising prospect. But who knows how long he'll last at lightweight, considering he's 6'3", and it'll probably get harder and harder to make weight, so he's probably going to have to move up to welterweights at some point. Rafael Fiziev, though, is 12-4, 8 wins by knockout and 1 submission. In his debut, he was KO'd in the 1st round, where he then went on a 6-fight win streak with 3 decisions and 3 knockouts. But then he ran into Justin the Highlight Gaethje, where he lost by decision. Then ran into Mateusz Gamrot, where he was KO'd surprisingly. I say surprisingly because both of them are kind of like have specialties in grappling, so I mean, that's usually how it works, though. I mean, 2 grapplers face someone's getting knocked out. And then his last fight was a co-main event for UFC 313. Very fun fight against Justin Gaethje. 1 fight of the night, actually. And he lost by decision yet again. So, I mean, let's be honest here. Ignacio Bahamondes is going to win this fight, and he's probably going to knock out Rafael Fiziev. That's my pick, is Ignacio Bahamondes to knock out Rafael Fiziev. And now for the main event, a very fun fight between Jamahal Sweet Dreams Hill and Khalil Rountree Jr. Rountree Jr. is 14-6, 10 wins by knockout, and 7 of those being the first round. His first 2 fights in the UFC, he lost by decision and submission, then knocked out Paul Craig, lost by decision again, got a knockout, and then got knocked out by Johnny Walker, and won by decision, then was knocked out by Kutelaba, and then lost by decision, and then went on a 5-fight win streak where he got mainly knockouts and 1 split decision, and then ran into Alex Pereira and was knocked out in the 4th round in a championship fight, UFC 307. Jamahal Hill, though, is 12-3 with 7 knockouts, 4 of those in the first round. Jamahal Hill debuted and went on a 3-fight win streak, first by decision, and then 2 by KO, knocking out Alvin St. Preux, and he seemed very exciting, like a very exciting light heavyweight prospect. But then he ran into Paul Craig and got his arm broken in the first round. Then he went on a 4-fight win streak, one of those being Johnny Walker, 3 of those being by KO, and the final one being by decision over Glover Teixeira. And at the time, the light heavyweight title was vacant due to Yuri Prochazka suffering an injury, vacating the title. First, Magomed Ankalaev and Jan Blachowicz fought for it. Really bizarre fight, ended in a draw, so the title was still vacant. But then Glover Teixeira and Jamahal Hill fought, where Jamahal Hill beat Glover Teixeira, won by a unanimous decision, and became the light heavyweight champion. However, just like Yuri Prochazka, he also suffered an injury and vacated his title. And when he came back, he fought Alex Pereira at UFC 300, the main event, and was knocked out in the very first round. After that, he fought Yuri Prochazka and was knocked out in the 3rd round. But I think that Jamahal Hill will beat Khalil Rountree, and he's probably going to knock him out, because Khalil Rountree usually loses to the more skilled and higher ranked fighters, and Jamahal Hill has really only lost, I mean, his last 2 losses were to 2 of the best light heavyweights in the world as of right now. And honestly, I mean, let's be real, Yuri Prochazka is the best light heavyweight, period. But I think Jamahal Hill will knock out Khalil Rountree Jr. in the main event for UFC Baku, Hill versus Rountree Jr. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree, disagree. If you don't care, who cares? But yeah, that'll do it. So thank you for watching. God bless, and let's have a great fight night.